Hey guys, what's up? This is Priyanka, and welcome back to another episode of the Fanspire. We are back this week to discuss the ever so exciting Premier League. We have two teams going head to head, which is Leicester versus United. And of course, we've got two new fans on the show today. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. And yes, to everyone tuning in, do put in your comments, your questions for our panelists. We'll be asking them on the live show today. And of course, as you can see below your screen, do check us out on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, and give us a follow there. And of course, do subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Now, without any further ado, let's get quickly into discussing the upcoming match. And let's get on our panelists first. Of course, there we have them on screen. Vardhan and Akash, welcome to the show, guys. So glad to have you here.
Making the club that I admire and absolutely love, and I'm passionate for Leicester City.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, do you guys want to give us a quick introduction, to you all and the club that you all are representing today?
Yeah, Akash,
Yeah,
you can go first.
yeah, Akash, you can go.
Yeah, so I have been a Leicester City supporter since the 2014-15 season when Estabi and Cambiaso started playing for us for a singular season. And I was very fascinated by the prospect of the Argentine legend coming into a club relatively unknown to me at that time and possibly to a lot of us. And I just saw the spark in that player. Why did he choose a side like Leicester? And then the magical escape, greatest escape from the relegation happened, and so I was hooked straight away. Then a season after, they won the Premier League from bottom to the top, and Jamie Vardy breaking Ruud van Nistelrooy's equaling consecutive goal scoring record at the Theatre of Dreams where dreams are made. So that was a bit poetic in nature. So I was hooked from then on, and since then I have seen highs and lows, but not as many Leicester fans previous that came previous me to me. But yeah, I mean, such a short span of time, we have won possibly without the League Cup everything there is to win in domestic competitions. So pretty excited to see what comes next.
We are super glad to have Leicester fan on the show, and also, yeah, shout out to your fan club. We've been interacting with you all quite a bit of time. So yes, and of course, coming now to our United fan, Vardhan, do you want to give us a small intro to yourself?
Yeah, so I would like to start by saying that I'm happy to be here and I'm happy that I got a platform to speak about Man United on Fanspire. So I have to thank you and thank Fanspire and thank all the people who thank one of my friends who told me to get on it and just talk about Man United. So yeah, so I've been a Manchester United fan for almost 14 or 15 years now, and I started watching football when Ronaldo and Rooney were just getting onto their peaks, and they were scoring goals for fun, and they were just destroying teams one after the another. And then the 2007 and 8 UCL final happened, and it that changed my life. And from then, I've been an avid supporter of United, and I've never missed a game. I think maybe I have missed, but I've always watched the highlights later. So yeah, that's me.
So glad to have both of you guys today. And yeah, that's what we want on the Fanspire. We want to give a platform to a lot of fans, irrespective of what sport it will be. So you can come out here and share your opinions. And now, of course, let's skip all of this and go right into discussing the game. So first up, let's take a quick look at Leicester's stats as per the results that they have had so far. If we can have that up on screen. And yes, as you can see, Leicester, I don't think it's you can't see a lot of wins, like a lot of clean sheets as well. So over to you, Akash. How are you feeling after looking at the past few results? You're on mute. Just a second. Yeah, you can go
Yeah,
ahead.
so the last few results have been lower and certainly underwhelming by Leicester's standards, and we have established a benchmark that we are expected to perform at, and massively that was downgraded this season because again another season with injuries, and we have to deal with it because the back line does look thin and depleted, because Johnny Evans is suffering a crucial PL injury, which is PF injury, sorry, which is a recurring thing, and he will never be completely fit for n number of games. Because I mean, you can see the player being declared fit, and when he comes into the play and within 15 to 20 minutes into the pitch, he can feel the after effects of that prolonged injury. So losing a player, an experienced player like him, is certainly derailing the focus from our backline. And without the compass that Johnny Evans is, Chandler Soinchu has been very, very poor this season. He looks lack without a proper leader in the defensive backline. And 90% of our problems does reside there, because defensively we have been very, very poor, whether you take into account the set piece defending or stopping oppositional plays in general. Because if you analyze game per game, you can see that average shot that Kashmir Michaels has to deal with per game is above 16 shots. So obviously we're going to concede goals, and we don't have that many attackers up front. And thus the problem exists and persists. I think things do turn around when a few injured players like Wesley Fofana and James Justin does make a comeback. So I am just being optimistic at this precise moment.
All right, there we have Akash. He's obviously mentioned a lot of injuries that the team has gone through and how it's actually bringing them down. But now coming to Vardhan, a spectacular set of signings before the start of the season, of course. Let's take a quick look at how they have played so far. Yes, as you can see, of course, European competitions and the Premier League, both the matches are put here, as well as the other cups that they have participated in. Of course, we can see their loss to West Ham. So it's not all wins, not all happiness for United fans, I think, as you all would have expected. So, how's it been for you so far?
So at the start of the season, when we had just signed Sancho as we expected, I was a bit on the edge because I was like, it's just one signing, and we have to make at least two or three quality signings before the season starts, and we need to have a quality defensive midfielder so that we fill that gap. But what happened was we signed Ronaldo and we signed Varane, and Varane is, I think, a world class CB. There's no one else like him. I think only Virgil van Dijk will be on par with him. So I was a bit excited, and I was like, United don't make these signings. They don't make them at all. And I was like, wow, I think we can actually win something this year. And but things have not turned out like that, because we started the season very strong. We beat Leeds 5-1, and we were like, oh my god, this team is something else. And but now, after that, the young boys game happened, and I don't know what to say. We were just very very poor. And Van Bissaka, it was just very uncharacteristic tackle from him, and the rest is history. And after that, I think the dominoes fell, and we were just playing very very poor. And the Everton game, something, I think there was some issue with the team. I don't know what happened. They were just not looking good at all, and most of these last few games have been like that. So I just hope that after this international break is over, we beat Leicester and have 3 points. But the thing is, if I may continue, the thing is, we don't have Varane, we don't have Maguire, and we don't have Fred. So we have ended up with Lindelof and Bai for the match against Leicester, and we don't have defensive midfielder Fred to screen us. So I think Matic and Scott McTominay have to play a double pivot with Pogba on the left. So I don't rate my chances against Leicester, but I hope we get those 3 points.
Yeah. And as you could see, a question on screen, like every time I think United lose, it's trending on Twitter, Ole in or Ole out. What's your thoughts on this? Like, pick your side if you had to?
Uh, I don't mean to be reactionary. I don't want him gone because he deserves a chance, I think, from my end. And he has done a lot for the club, and this is his team. This is his team. This is not anyone's team, and we have progressively gotten better with him, even though we have had a fair few performances. But I think he needs to win something at the end of this season, and if he doesn't, I think he has to go, and we need a world class manager on the spot. Yeah, but for now, I think Ole has to stay.
Yep, and of course, you got another question. Um, Akash, do you want to take this?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic question, and I have been writing tirelessly articles on this particular topic because Brendan Rodgers, a man who is very stubborn at times when he shouldn't be, because that's just one man with a fantastic brain. But when the fans, thousands of fans, are riling behind one obvious decisions, why is Kelechi Iheanacho missing from the starting lineup? His numbers speak for themselves. I know he's not that well equipped, well talented, not carrying a lot of flair around him, but still whenever he is given those crucial minutes, he proves to the gaffer that he can produce results in an instant. I don't know how that is happening. I have not been a very ardent fan of Kelechi Iheanacho season before, but here I am right now singing his praises and hoping that Brendan Rodgers does start him. In the earlier match in Nigeria, he picked up a minor injury. I don't think that's enough to derail him from the starting 11. But again, you have to see Brendan Rodgers because it was the very final game that we saw where Brendan Rodgers took the chance and implemented a 4-4-2 system, which Brendan Rodgers doesn't really like. And those who have known the manager for a long time, he is very against that policy of using 4-4-2. He thinks that his creativity is lost in that formation. But to make ways for Vardy, who has been a goal scoring machine again this season after the season's resumption, and Kelechi Iheanacho, who just thrives on any given opportunity. I think those two shouldn't be in any kind of contention or in doubts pondering over them. They should be starting each day of the week because when you are so thin on your defense, you should be aggressive on your counter attacks.
I've got a question for Akash.
Yes, so go ahead. I believe there's
Yeah.
a bit of.
So the Roger.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Is it good now? Yeah.
Yeah,
So do you
Yes, we
think
can hear
Brendan
you.
Rodgers is having his meltdown season?
when you don't give a manager all the tools that are required, I think it's a very harsh criticism, and we are just being skeptical at this point. There is obviously a threshold for tolerating a manager, but I think Brendan Rodgers has been, as you said, in just one game against Leicester City, you see you don't have Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire, and we have been facing that problem since I can remember. I think in the past seasons we had more injuries than Liverpool, and it doesn't get highlighted often. And this season, Fofana, one of our best centre backs, every scout is looking at him. Wonderful prospects, just 20 years of age, and definitely is going to be starting somewhere around in that France lineup. So you don't have Fofana, you don't have Johnny Evans, who has not been so great in his United days, but after that West Brom spell, he came to us, he just rejuvenated himself and is an outright masterclass every game that he plays for us. So we don't have to straight away from the back. Then if you remember James Justin, a very brief spell, but again a very vital injury that keeps him out for more than 8 to 9 months. Ricardo Pereira coming off a brilliant season, but again an injury, an ACL tear, derails him for the most part, and now he's showing that form again. Then we have to make shift with Yannick Vestergaard, who is not that adept, not that speedy, but we are dealing with that. Sancho has been poor, and you said missing Fred. We are missing Wilfred Ndidi, who is again an asset to our defensive backline, and we are missing all those players. And now Rogers, what does he do? He reinforce the wall and try for a better defensive outcome? Then he has to compromise on the attacking side. And if he's already compromising on the attacking side, we have an age-old striker who is thriving. Don't get me wrong, but he is an age striker, and we have Jamie Vardy, and Kelechi Iheanacho doesn't do the job that Jamie Vardy is adept at doing, and Vardy doesn't do the job that Kelechi Iheanacho does. Again, Maddinson, Jose Perez, Harvey Barnes. Those three are having a bad season since their injury or their breaks in place. They are not good. So I think there is a lot of factors working against Brendan Rodgers at this moment. We can criticize him, fair point, but aside his stubbornness, I don't find many critical aspects to absolutely shred him into pieces.
Absolutely. And we also have a question. Uh, will Rogers succeed Pep at City? Like you could just give us like a quick yes or no. Do you think
I
that
don't
would
think
happen?
so. No. City will be looking for Nagelsmann or something, someone like Nagelsmann or German manager maybe.
Okay, in straight out. Okay, yeah,
I
of course,
I
yes, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't think. I think Brendan Rodgers is in a perfect city, and going to Manchester shouldn't be an option because we just defeated them in the Community Shield, and we already have one trophy this season. So hope not.
Yes, of course, we've gone into depth, talking about both managers. You've spoken about Ole, Akash has told us about Brendan Rodgers. But, coming back to this match, okay, we've seen your teams perform the couple of past game weeks. They're coming back from international break. How important is this match to, both teams? So, if you all can just shed some light on that. Vardhan, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's very, very important to get these 3 points against Leicester because uh, the next few matches look bleak because it's against City, it's against Atalanta, it's against Tottenham, and Atalanta Champions League. But the next few fixtures against Liverpool and all those tough teams, and Liverpool just looks so good, so good.
Liverpool
And
fan here, sorry.
yeah, and going to Anfield with a packed house, I don't think we can get a result. I would love to see a result there, but I don't think so. We'll either get a draw or get a win. So I think these 3 points against Leicester are very, very necessary to stay in the title race. And maybe, yeah, let's see what happens next. You can
Yep.
see I'm a very pessimistic United fan. So yeah.
Yes, and Akash, how important, is this match? Because we've seen the table, anything can happen, but, it's always good to get the 3 points.
I mean, the Foxes are hungrier than usual. We don't usually sit at 13th place since a long time, and the result is just calling out for us. Those 3 points up for grabs will be a very, very crucial factor that boosts our confidence even in the European competitions this season. We have done relatively well in the attacking department. I wouldn't say we have been too shabby at all because the pattern of the games are we score one or two goals, we lead at half time, and then there is a certain span of time where we completely switch off. I have seen that in 2 3 games, even with Napoli. In the second half, something just goes missing, and then we concede in quick succession, and then we are very very in doubt, and we are diverged whether we should defend or attack, and that way the battle always ends in a stalemate draw, or sometimes we lose. But I think whenever it's a battle against Manchester United at the King Power Stadium, I think United is going to be feeling the pressure because people expect us to lose and drop those points, because if Ronaldo is playing, I mean, who is going to bet on us? And rightfully so, even I don't bet on us at times. But when you see that our ex Manchester United, ex Leicester City player Harry Maguire, now Manchester United captain, is out of the equation, and you get Victor Lindelof or Eric Bailey as their replacements, they're going to be a bit rusty than usual. And I hope we can capitalize on that, because whenever scales are tipped against us, we do tend to upset a lot of the fixtures. And recently, in the last season, we had 3 fixtures against Manchester United. One was a draw, Bruno Fernandes and Vardy scoring later in the game. Then a FA Cup match where Manchester United had fed a very, very young squad against us, so not counting that at all. But thankful for that because we won the silverware again, thanks to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Uh, then final game again we won 2-1 and both the defenders scored. So whenever you don't expect, I think Leicester would carries the capability of bringing in an upset, and I think Manchester winning against Manchester United would be a big statement not only for the Premier League as a whole, but to boost our own confidence and reinstall some of the lost momentum that we have had endured in for the past few months.
Yep. And we have a lot of questions about Rogers today over here. So thoughts on Rogers being linked to Newcastle?
He just denied because I work in close proximity with the club. I work in a media outlet that represents Leicester, also a podcast that is Leicester City exclusive. We have players on the show, so I have got a few connections, and I can like reveal this. The Rogers has said no to that offer for at least two years.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with Akash because since the takeover, the journalists have been filling up their column spaces in, so they are linking up anyone with anyone. So I
Exactly.
think so. Yeah, I think I saw some big player linked to Newcastle for no reason. I don't know why, but let's see. But I don't think Rogers will join Newcastle at all because Newcastle needs time to rebuild, and that will take
Absolutely.
time.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. I think like everything, Newcastle is just like memes and jokes and people throwing out all of that on social media. And of course, we have another question. Do you think Sancho deserves a start after this great performance? So, Vardhan, you can go ahead and take this.
Yeah, I think Sancho deserves a start because he's been growing in the team for the last few games, and also as Conan mentioned against with England, he has been playing good, and we have a big boost now because we have got Rashford back. So maybe he will not start, but maybe he will play on the left wing now, and Sancho will be on his preferred right side. So yeah, I think Sancho deserves a start because there's no right winger right now that is as good as Sancho, or a left winger right now because Martial is not just he's not that good.
So, obviously, we've spoken about United losing, not having like Varane and Maguire. So, how do you think tactically is Ole going to play this out? Because that is a disadvantage to your team right now, in spite of having like
Yeah,
some great players up in front.
yeah. So I think you can forget about Donny van de Beek starting at all. He won't be starting Ole. I don't think so. But
Has the
I
poor guy ever like had the hope? Every time we've just talked about him being on the bench. But yeah, continue. Go ahead, go ahead.
but yeah, I think yeah. So I think we have to start Lindelof and buy. There's no option, or maybe Jones. Maybe Jones will come back. Who knows? And tactically, I think he has to play Matic and Scott McTominay as a screen for the defenders, and Pogba on the left wing. I think he will start with that lineup.
Okay. And coming to you, Akash, we just spoke that they do have players. You've got to face Ronaldo, Bruno, Pogba also, if he's in that lineup. How do you plan, or how do you think Rogers is going to plan to stop that attack?
I think Rogers doesn't have much options. Opposition should be prioritized, and opposition is the best form of defense. While we're mentioning Leicester, I don't think the 90 minutes are going to be a challenge. The initial 45 minutes are going to be the real test because Manchester United would us out and exploit our defensive incapabilities. Not having Wilfred Ndidi does give a player like Bruno Fernandes a lot of room to exploit. If I'm not wrong, Rogers has only two options either between Boubacar Somare and Hamza Chaudhry. Somare is great. Hamza Chaudhry just came off to start against the opposition last time, and he started rusty, but he went on to perform good. But they are not at the levels of Wilfred Ndidi, so that's going to be a huge miss for us because Bruno will be orchestrating all kinds of moves to disrupt our plays, and there is that poacher Ronaldo ultimately. I mean, whatever you have to criticize against that man, I think he has a brilliant track record of scoring against any team that he faces, and he thrives in the Premier League and La Liga. So don't get me wrong. I think Ronaldo is old, Vardy is old, but those two players on the pitch are gonna be the selling point of this match because both are fantastic talents in their own right. We have to deal with the defensive outplays, but we should be able to salvage something out of this fixture. That's my true belief because again, you can exploit players like Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly into conceding you a penalty or some sort. I will take anything to get those 3 points in this fixture because this fixture is the highlight of the season.
Yep. Of course, Akash spoke about the head-to-head fixtures that United and Leicester have seen before. But let's take a quick look at it right now. You can see, uh,
Oof.
yes, you can see that on your screen now. After taking a look at this and considering everything that we've discussed today, I want you guys to give your predictions in terms of the score line. So, yep, Vardhan, go first. Your predictions for this game.
Uh, if I want to predict, I would obviously predict a United win. But I think 2-1 to United would be a fair result for both of us. Am I still there?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think 2-1 would be a fair result to United, and I think we will not perform that well, but I think we should get those two early goals quickly, and then we'll concede one goal because obviously by and Lindelof. So that's my prediction.
And Akash, your prediction. Also, Joshua asked, do you think a Vardy hat trick? I would love that. I have him in my FPL team. So, yes, go ahead, Akash.
I would take just a very very short marginal win. I would say 1-0 to Leicester somehow. I don't know if that's possible. That's my optimism speaking for itself. But if that happens, scorer can be anybody. Even Casper Michael can score. I don't give a damn because 3 points are worth too many when you are residing in the 13th place, and a lot of teams that shouldn't be above us are above us. So very tough season again. Every team is performing to their full capabilities. Title race obviously is out of the equation. Top four finish looks like a distant dream. Any European competition qualification should be a win at this point, and we can only go above this. I think we shouldn't be looking at any kind of loss from any fixture now because we tend to do well against big teams. So I am keeping that hope alive.
Like how you all are kind of like realistic, both of you have given like pretty realistic things that can go right for you all, things that can go wrong. And we spoken about Ole in or Ole out because that is a controversial question. But now we have something, question to both thoughts on the Newcastle takeover in general. Of course, I would love to hear your opinions on that.
Akash, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Yeah. So I have actually a lot of honest thoughts, but I won't be speaking them on this live show because I don't think so. I should. But yeah, football has just become a money game, and everyone's looking to topple each other, and it's just a big. It's a Premier League is now just Big Six, and there was a report in between that the top six of the Premier League have been angry at the takeover of Newcastle because they don't want competition in between them. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the name of the game now, and it I don't- you saw that Newcastle fans don't bother how what the owners are and how the owners are and what human rights abuse. They don't care.
I think we've just lost him a bit due to internet issues. Yep, I think he's back. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm back.
Yes,
I'm
go
back.
ahead. Go ahead.
Where did I stop? Do you know?
Yeah, you were telling us, that the top six were not too happy with it, and the
Yeah.
fans
So
aren't really concerned as to how they are handling the
yeah,
club.
I think yeah. So if even if United are taken over by Saudi Arabian owners, I don't think the fans would care. I think the core fans would care, but what can you do? You cannot do anything. As Craig has said, cash is king. So we just have to accept the fact that they have been taken over by a rich owner, and particularly a big state. Is basically they've a state has taken over the club, and we are going to see a lot of it in the future, even with this European Super League and all that crap and all that jazz. I think we just have to move on and just see. And the thing is, even though you have got rich owners, that doesn't mean it will translate into good football club, because QPR also for taken over by good rich owners, but they are nowhere near the Premier League now. So let's see what happens. But if you ask my opinion, I don't think I accept so these state-owned oil countries to take over the football. Yeah.
Yes, and Akash, your thoughts on the Newcastle takeover?
Quite frankly, I enjoyed the takeover saga because it's happening for a long time. Mike Ashley hasn't been a good owner, to say the least. And, you know, being a Leicester fan when you don't have that pocket full of money, it's quite fascinating to see how this big franchises play and how this new ownership comes into the picture as their little passion projects of football, and they don't understand the gravity of a football club, and they just like to make it a money making machine, which I'm sure is Newcastle is going to turn into in a few years. And I mean, Newcastle again, a team like us, pretty much like us, they have been in the Premier League for a long time. They don't get relegated. They don't achieve anything glorious, and they have been stalling and being stagnant at that position for a long time. I don't think I have seen Newcastle get relegated in a long time. So they have been long, persistent, and they are just given up to. They have just given up to accept death. So they were going like that for a long time, and then this takeover happens. 320 billion assets to the investment group, which is staggering because our owner, I think, has a little bit of over 5 billion in his whole ownership. So I think it will be a very sweet to earn any victories against Newcastle in the foreseeable future, because that victory is going to taste so sweeter. As you know, with Vardhan, I think winning against Manchester City gives a different kind of taste, because now you have massive backing and you can buy literally anything. And now a club like Manchester City or PSG is looking peanuts as compared to Newcastle's ownership. So they should know how that feels to other fans. Even Manchester is well off, but then a team like us, when we got promoted, seeing clubs heavily invested like Manchester City, we literally get scared, and we would be happy with our existence, to say the least. And we are happy because I mean, a lot of clubs don't get to say this. They achieve some sort of credibility, but Leicester has done something which will be remembered forever. And I think those accolades can only be further glorified as we won the FA Cup and Community Shield again. Community Shield against the against Sheikh Mansour's team, highly backed team, but we again won that trophy. I would count it as a trophy, certainly, because when you are Leicester, you don't have many options. Either you can see the prospects as Tottenham Hotspur and be craving for anything that you get, or you can just be happy and consider the Community Shield as a legitimate trophy. And FA Cup again, we won against eventual UEFA Champions League winners. So I would take those victories as a very establishing fact that Leicester are a good side. And Vardhan spoke about the big six. Are we in the big six? Have we replaced Arsenal yet?
I think I mean the traditional big six, but if yeah, I think Leicester has replaced Arsenal in the big six, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so that's
The
what
thought is
I'm
very
very
happy in the company.
I'm very
Yes,
excited. I don't see how it can go against us than it already is. Newcastle or not Newcastle, you can buy anything. I mean, we sold Harry Maguire so costly to United. Why can't we sell Jose Perez for some billions to Newcastle, duping them of some scheme? So I would be very happy with Newcastle's ownership. I think that gives us a plenty of room for negotiations and offloading talents that we don't require, giving them some kind of a scheme. So yeah, optimistic on
Yeah,
that regard.
I just would like to add a point. I mean, don't get me wrong, but no, none of the owners in the Premier League are good. They are not good people. Even Leicester owners have some history of Thailand or something related to Thailand or something. But that's a whole another point. I'm saying, yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah.
For that, we can't hear you. Just a second. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is, it's a lethal combination with rich owners and rich history because Newcastle are both of them now. So that's why I think people are a bit upset. Yeah, and also the human rights abuse thing, etc. With Manchester City and with PSG, both of those teams had a very small history and very small past. That's why people were a lot accepting in the takeover of owners. I am not accepting of the takeover, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate now. So yeah, that was the point I wanted to add. Nothing else. But
Okay.
yeah, as I said, no,
If
none of the owners are good in Premier League. Yeah.
of course, like as we said, there's the money coming in, but overall, at the end of the day, we just hope that it doesn't change the whole sport because we know how much we love it, how much
Yeah.
the fans, the passion. I hope it just doesn't change all of that and
Yeah.
affect the players who go in day and week in and week out and play. And yeah, we have let's have the final question by Craig to just wrap things up. Of course, there's been a little banter happening in the chat here, the live chat. But yes, final question to both of you. Top three players of all time for your club.
Uh,
Akash, go ahead.
yeah. Akash can go first.
I'd be putting, if I want to rank them in particular order, then at first, undoubtedly, Jamie Vardy. He has earned us the global recognition that we strive for, and we would be forever grateful. He has beautiful accolades, beautiful records, and a Premier League certified champion. So Jamie Vardy is up there because he's just the goat. Second would be a very controversial take because I have to hand it over to Kasper Michael. The way he has been a fundamental asset for us and not getting his proper share of recognition at Manchester City's camp, and then I think he has overcome his father's legacy and stepped out of his shadow because his father had that beautiful Manchester United lineup and Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. And Casper doesn't have all that much of guidance, and Casper is not even trained by his own father. So, coming out of his father's steps speaks a lot of things about the individual that he is. And I'm proud to say that he is our captain at this point. The third player would be history right for us because I'm going to pick the third one as Steve Walsh, again a former captain. And I have my personal preference because he follows me on Twitter and we have interacted a few times. So I'm just a fanboy of Steve Walsh. He won the League Cup with us during the beginning of this century. So yeah, I would rank those three up right on the top. But I will be very excited to hear on Vardhan because he has a lot of legends that we don't have.
Yeah. I was going to say that we have produced a lot of legends in this club, but I would like to choose some of the legends that I have seen live. So first would definitely be Ryan Giggs. There's no doubt Ryan Giggs is a legendary player, and despite the man he is a very big club legend, and I think we have to give him that credit. And second would be Manchester United's top goal scorer. That would be Wayne Rooney. I mean, what a player. I mean, you don't have any words to describe him because when you saw him during that 2009 and 10 season when he started peaking, every team was scared to play Wayne Rooney. Every team. So when you saw him, you know that he would be scoring goals against all the teams, and he would come back and he would do something on the pitch. And third, I would third player I would like to pick is from the modern era, from the post Ferguson era, the one who has been consistent for us and who has won us a lot of points, and that would be David De Gea. He's the best United goalkeeper after Van der Sar, I think we have had, and Peter Schmeichel, obviously. So yeah, from the modern picks, I would like to choose David De Gea, and fourth would be Cristiano Ronaldo because he's a Real Madrid legend. Let's be fair.
Awesome. That was so amazing. Like, you all gave a little bit of history input as well. Really great to hear that. And of course, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know we could talk a lot more about the Premier League, about your clubs, but unfortunately, we have to end. Of course, I hope we can have you all sometime again on the show, and hopefully a couple of your friends as well. It could be a lot of banter, a lot of fun. Of course, shout out to everyone who joined in today, who put in the comments, the questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe. We'll be back next week with more content, more sports content. We are really on the lookout for sports fans who want to share their views and opinions. So do DM us on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get back to you uh, with a date that you can come on the show. Till next week, that's all for today. Thanks again, Vardhan and Akash, so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Just one more thing I would like to add. I would love to banter with Chinmay, the Arsenal fan.
Chinmay is the United fan and Joshua is the Arsenal fan.
Oh, sorry, Joshua. Joshua.
Yeah, of
Sorry.
course we can definitely have that happen. I bet they would be super excited. Let's do like a banter session one day.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll hope that happens soon. Till then, take care, guys, and we'll see you all. Bye bye. Good night.